Hello, and welcome back to this series where I analyze creatures from Monster Core. If you haven't seen one of these videos before, I am selecting a random creature from Monster Core, removing it from the spin pool, and giving an analysis and read over of the creature and what I think of it and how it stands up to the building creatures rules, and also versus some other creatures and my thoughts on the creature. We have Dracula's demon form here in the beginning accompanying us today, and let's go ahead and get started. Looks like we will be looking at the Thulgant, and just give me a minute and we'll find out what exactly that is. Okay, so we have the Thulgant. It is a Scour Qlippoth, and the Qlippoths, if you don't already know, are the native denizens of the Outer Rifts, previously known as the Abyss. They were what was there before before mortal souls began being corrupted by sin and turning into demons. So these are the natural denizens of the Abyss and the Outer Rifts. They are level 18, and as you can see, they are big, upside down, inside out, squiggly wiggly spider monsters. So let's go ahead and give them a read. Thulgants are powerful and intelligent Qlippoths created from the cannibalistic feeding frenzies of Ognagars, which I imagine is probably another Qlippoth. Although they spend most of their time hunting and battling demons for control of the Outer Rifts, Thulgants amuse themselves with a variety of diversions, such as maintaining galleries of petrified mortals or building massive hive-like lairs filled with enslaved minions. Each Thulgant is a horrific tangle of limbs with spider-like legs, writhing tentacles emerging from the top of its head, and 3 scorpion-like stingers. They are uncommon, thus have a slightly higher than average identification score. They require a DC 40 to properly identify it with religion. And then they have their adjusted scores for 38 and 35 for lores. They are on page of Monster Core, or 283 of Monster Core, if you want to crack it open and follow along. At level 18, they are likely to have some pretty high scores. So at 18, we are ranged from 36 to 24 on perception, and we are sitting at 30, which is right at moderate. So right down the middle there, but they have dark vision and constant true sight. So they are able to see their illusions on polymorphs. Basically, they're going to have a really high chance of seeing through anything of, what would it be? 1 rank below, so 8th rank or lower, they're going to have an extremely high chance of seeing through, though they will have to, I believe, properly succeed to get a 10th level or 9th level, or 10th rank or 9th rank illusion or polymorph. So basically 99% of the time they're going to see through it. They speak Chthonian, which is the new version of Abyssal. They have telepathy for 100 feet, which means that they're not actually able to communicate with many creatures. You have to have Chthonian in order for them to communicate with you. That's a limitation of telepathy unless it's otherwise stated. They have Acrobatics 32, Athletics 35, Occultism 33, and Stealth 32. So not an incredibly wide array of skills, but they're probably quite good at those that they have. So I believe 35 is high, and we've got nothing lower than 32. So we have a high and some moderate to moderate highs here. So they've got a pretty positive spread on their skills. They have a 9 in strength, 6 in dex, 6 in con, 5 in intelligence, 6 in wisdom, and 9 in charisma. As with most really high-level creatures, they're good at everything. There are things that they do not excel as much in, but they don't have any real fail points either in terms of their raw ability scores, so the minimum they're going to get on any skill check is +5. Barring, of course, penalties. Surprisingly, not good at deception or intimidation. You would think they would be good at one of those two things. Now they do get +9 for both of those things as well. They have a 42 AC, which is high. And they have a fortitude of 30, reflex of 28, and will of 32. So reflex is their weakest. Given how gangly in every possible direction they are, that's not too surprising. It is, to me, a little surprising that their best save is will. Then again, I suppose these are creatures that really, really hate demons for having wants and desires, basically. So let's see, 30 is our midline, and it looks like we're just balancing around that on either side. We've got +2 and -2. So we've got a pretty standard spread there, kind of anchoring towards the middle. Let's see how it actually compares. So we had a +6 for both wisdom and con, but they obviously have a prof boost in wiz, and a prof fall off on dex because they have the same score in all of those abilities. All right, so they have fast healing 10, which is at level 18, not insane, but it's still, if you don't constantly hurt them, they're going to get back to full pretty quick, and 305 hit points. So 305 falls on the low end of moderate to the high end of low. It falls in the gap there, which means that they're probably a moderate HP with accounting for their fast healing. Immunities to controlled and to fear. They cannot be frightened and they cannot be controlled. But that's it. And they're resistant to mental and physical except cold iron. So I suppose you could intuit from Qlippoth and demons both having cold iron either as a weakness or overcoming their resistances, as that being something inherent to the nature of the Outer Rifts, that it builds in to the creatures there. Something about cold iron just does not mesh with the Outer Rifts. They are very mobile. They have a 30-foot move, 30-foot climb, and can fly at 50 feet. Although they do make these hive-like layers where I imagine they are more likely to be climbing and crawling rather than flying. And unfettered movement, which is not on display here, so it is a creature ability. We'll go ahead and open that and take a look. Oh, it's a spell, so they have a constant unfettered movement, which is you repel hindrances that would affect a creature while under this spell's effect. The target ignores the effects that would give them circumstance penalties to speed. If they attempt to escape an effect that has them immobilized, grabbed, or restrained, they automatically succeed in the effect unless the effect is magical and of a higher rank than the unfettered movement spell. So they have constant at 6th true sight. And 4th is unfettered movement. Is it not constant? Okay, so this isn't entirely clear. It does not say constant under unfettered movement, but it's up here, so it's not intended to be a temporary consideration. I believe then this is most likely intended to have a constant 6th and a constant 4th entry, which is a little non-standard in perhaps why it's like this. Or maybe it's just supposed to be assumed to have put this on during combat. That's not entirely clear here. We'll explore that in a little bit. So they're fast overall. Not the fastest any creature is going to be at level 18, but they've got a wide variety given that they are surprisingly only large. I thought these things were bigger, but they are obviously fiends. They're Qlippoth. They're unholy. And they're pretty quick. They are dangerously quick for most parties. Of course, you've got things like Tailwind and whatnot that can speed you up, and you can have plenty of movement boosting options by this stage. But honestly, giant flying scorpion spider tentacle monster, concerning. It's concerning. They have plus 35 to hit, that with magical 10 reach of feet, and unholy, dealing 3d12 plus 17, which is what? That's 13 plus 6. 19 plus 17. So 36, I think. Yeah. Plus 46 mental damage, which is 14. So 36 plus 14 is 50, and let's see how that holds up. Oh yeah, their resistances and weaknesses are between 10 and 20, so it's within range, pretty simply. And their to hit of 35 is a high, so without much in the way of considerations, we can expect high damage. But we are looking far closer to extreme damage. They deal 50, and extreme is 53. So they're doing a lot of damage here with reach. They also have venom on this, which is kind of insane. Let's take a look at their tentacles. Their tentacles are agile, and so have better overall chance to hit on subsequent strikes. They also have reach. 3d8 plus 17, so we're losing out on 6 average damage, so, and 3d6, so losing out on 9, no, losing out on 10 damage, so 40. This one's much more normal. This one's a high damage equivalent and has grab. So it's agile and grab and dealing high damage. This is a very exceptionally dangerous creature. They have occult innate spells. They have petrify times 3 at 9th rank. Let's take a look at petrify right quick. Okay, so the ongoing effect has the incapacitate trait. So that's why it's 9th rank, to bring it up above this. Slowed 1. So yeah, if you reach basically slow 4, or if you're otherwise quickened, if you reach, or if you hit slow 3, or if otherwise quickened slow 4, then you turn into a statue. So they have debuffs. Powerful debuffs. They have Phantasmal Calamity, which is a relatively powerful mental spell. Dispel Magic, Divine Decree, which is a lot of spirit damage. Phantom Pain, which is another good chunk of persistent mental damage and mental damage. Quandary, which I think... What is this? Quandary. I haven't seen this spell yet. 30 feet, 1 creature, sustained. Transport the target into an extra planar puzzle room. Oh, it's maze with new ways out. Okay. Okay, so they get to cast maze. Wow, these guys are mean. They're mean in the extreme. These things have to be a pretty severe threat. Let's see. Interplanar teleport, that's pretty common for high-level outsiders of all kinds. Not self-only, though. Unfettered movement. At 4th. So, if this is not constant, then 3rd rank or lower spells that impede movement don't affect the Thulgant. If it's not intended to be constant, then for 10 minutes, that is the case. And of course it's got True Sight at 6th rank, so it's actually not as bad as I said earlier, where I said everything 8th rank and lower, because its constant True Sight is 6th, not 9th. So it has a chance to pass a 9th rank check if with a critical success, but it's only really likely to overcome 5th rank, and generally likely to overcome up to 7th rank, if I'm remembering correctly how counteract checks work. We can check that right quick right here. Counteract checks. Success is no more than 1 higher than your effect's counteract level. Yeah. So they are able to regularly counteract up to 7th rank spells, illusions, and polymorphs to see through with True Sight. But otherwise, incredibly likely to overcome anything 5th rank or lower, and somewhat unlikely to overcome anything 8th, 9th, or 9th rank, and unable to overcome 10th rank illusions and polymorphs. They know they know imprisonment ritual, which is really cool in the remaster. There's different ways to imprison, like put them under a burial mound or something. If I'm remembering correctly, yeah, War of Immortals. Demon Hunter, 1 action occult. The Thulgant causes a demon within 30 feet to suffer the effects of its sinful vulnerability. So these things right here just get to go, whatever it is that is like your antithesis that makes you go oof, ow, that makes me take mental damage, they just do it. There's no save. So these things just shred demons for being near them, which fits. Qlippoths have basically re-evolved themselves just to hunt and murder demons because they hate them so much. They have Greater Constrict, 2d6 plus 17 bludgeoning and 1d6 acid, with a DC of 40. And they have... they don't have a specified grapple. So I would imagine that that's intended to be their tentacles. There's a little bit of unclear messiness in the creature, which is unfortunate. I would expect them to be grappling with their tentacles rather than their stingers. So it looks like they've got like 5 of them. So I would probably allow up to 5 grapples. But Qlippoths are also incredibly chaotic beasts. They could only have 1 big fat one, and they could have 3,000 that need like more to hang on. So again, it's not entirely clear how many creatures they can grapple, especially since this does not have the grapple trait. Then probably, just to be safe, the GM should probably assume they can only grapple one creature at a time. And that they're likely not using their tentacles expressly for it. Or no, they have grab. That's right. They have grab. So yeah, that's how they're grappling at. And they have athletics. So yeah, so they're grabbing with their tentacles and then munching on one person. Unless there's another ability that says they can do more. So 2d6 plus 17, which is 13 plus 17, so 30. And 1d6s, it's a 33 with a DC of 40. Now, things like constrict and swallow whole don't always follow a necessarily extremely sensible damage scale, but that is solidly in moderate. 33, exactly. Though one could argue that sometimes those go off of area damage, because sometimes they can hit multiple creatures, of which the unlimited use of 30 is also quite close. However, I think in this case, it more closely resembles the moderate damage of 33. So mind-rending sting, one action requirement. The Thulgant hits the same enemy with 2 consecutive sting strikes in the same round. So if it makes 3 sting strikes, if it misses the one in the middle, it cannot do this. Say it was quickened, for example, it would need to be. But they do have to be first action, sting, second action, sting. Both are successful. You can use this one as a third action. And it deals an additional 3d12 plus 17 mental damage to the enemy. And if they are affected by the Thulgant Venom, which is a good chance after 2 hits, the poison gains the virulent trait, which means you need 2 saves to go back 1 stage, or 1 critical save to go back 1 stage. So that's really nasty, but requires a lot of setup. It's basically Rend, but more specific. Instead of dealing specifically being short and being like, oh, it's the Stinger's damage again. This deals specifically mental damage, and then modifies their poison. Stunning display, concentrate, emotion, fear, incapacitation, mental, occult, and visual. The Thulgant rises up on its twitching limbs and presents its numerous tentacles and stingers in a horrifying display of awfulness. Creatures in a 30-foot emanation must attempt a DC 40 will save, after which they are temporarily immune to further stunning displays for 1 minute. Okay, this is why they don't have intimidation, because they can do this. Critical success, creature is unaffected. Success, the creature is stunned 1. Failure, the creature is stunned 4. That means you are, unless you're quickened, you are stunned for 1 and a portion rounds, during which time you cannot make any reactions. And on a critical failure, you're stunned 8, so you're out for 2 to 2 2/3 rounds, depending on your action economy. Oof. Like that. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're temporarily immune. This thing's just going to kill everything before they get a chance. This is one of those creatures that at like level plus 4 or 5 is nightmarishly dangerous. Like there's a lot of creatures that like you could go at the beginning of the game and be like, here's a creature that's far beyond your ability to deal with, and like it's horrific because its numbers are big. This one's horrific because it appears, goes oogity boogity with all of its little bits, and you don't know what happened, and there's a dozen dead people where it was standing. Like it is that kind of horrific, which is suitable for a Qlippoth. They are horrific murder machines, basically, that really want to be left alone in their horrific horror world. And their last ability, Thulgant Venom, Fortitude DC 40, and they have DC 40, which is probably high for their level. It's actually, yeah, yes, high for their level. So that's extremely common for creatures, is to have a high DC. First, it's technically the spell DC and spell attack bonus table, but you will find that most of their abilities also follow this train. And so Fortitude DC of 40, maximum duration 6 rounds, pretty common for most poisons. Stage 1, 3d6 poison damage, and the victim gains one of the following at random. So I guess you roll a d6 and pick one. You know, however, either you do it halving, or you do 1 and 2, or 1, 2 and 3, or 2, 4 and, or no, brain. You divide it 3 ways, however you like to do it. And then you apply one of these. Stage 2 is 66 poison damage, and the victim gains 2 of the following at random: Clumsy 2, Enfeebled 2, or Stupefied 2 for 1 round. Stage 3 is 96 poison damage, and the victim gains all 3 of Clumsy 3, Enfeebled 3, and Stupefied 3. This thing is a debuff nightmare, which only makes its other abilities even more terrifying. This thing does extreme damage on top of poison, on top of spellcasting, on top of having not incredible, but decent defenses, fast healing. They don't have like insane resistance. Its physical resistance is easy to overcome, and it doesn't have a lot of common energy resistances. So spellcasters and prepared melee or prepared marshals are going to do better against these, but freaking heck, these things are deadly, and they're not as thin in defense as a lot of things this deadly normally are. Excuse me. Wow. Okay. I feel like these things are a little overtuned, primarily in the damage department. It feels like they went right here and they looked at this and they went, okay, that's moderate damage. And then they tacked this on and they went, okay, that's not too much. And they were kind of wrong. And then they went, and this, which I remind you, at a base is another 3d6 damage. So their damage output is insane. They're fast. They've got pretty good AC. Meh saves. Like, their saves aren't bad, but they're not good. Their HP is on the lower end, but they have fast healing. These things, if you see it, your best options are either get the hell out or kill it before it kills you with a vengeance swiftly, because it will kill you. They are absolutely, actually, yeah, kill it before it gets to go, because this right here, it's in cap. But if this is a boss creature, that doesn't matter for you. If this is a minion-y thing, like if you're level 18, 19, sure, they make for a good horde enemy in that way, because you're more likely to be able to pass this. Not only because of your level, but because it's in cap and you're going to be getting a stage better. But holy heck, when you're lower level than this thing, they're going to mow over you. I would not do this as a +4 creature. Maybe as a +2. Probably testing out the waters, because I haven't used one of these. I would test out the waters with a +2 solo boss. on these. Don't give them minions, because some of these abilities are so powerful and their spellcasting is so powerful that even at +2, they might be able to take your party out on their own. This is a Nova tag creature right here. So those are my thoughts on the Thulgant. I really like them. I've seen these creatures before, like their artworks plastered all over. They're one of the big Qlippoth creatures. That's really really recognizable because of their strange appearance. But oh boy, I would be terrified if I was, say, level 16, even level 17, and one of these showed up, particularly with buddies. Because right here, whoops, you failed, you're losing a round in a portion. You got no reactions, you can't do anything. And they might petrify you in that time. They might phantasmal calamity you in that time. They might just stab you to death. It's crazy. But anyway, let me know what you think of the Thulgant. Do all that like, subscribe, and comment stuff. And check out the next one too. Peace.